Hello and welcome to another free code session. My name is Jason Bach and I'm going to work on this idea I have for range. I want to finally stop working on this and move on to different things. It bothered me that if we go down here, that the way that this partition method is implemented is that we're doing this switch on the interface type. I really did not like that the more I thought about it. And I thought of how I could get around that. And really what I'm trying to do is say, well, hey, if you're one way of being a range where you're using integer numbers, or if you're binary integers, or if you're using floating point numbers, do them two different ways. And I'm like, that's what arguably inheritance is supposed to do. So, but then I thought, well, I want this to stay a struct, and if you have a struct in play, then you really can't inherit from a base type. But you can have an interface, and that could have base implementations because interfaces could have implementations. So I'm like, let's give this a whirl. So that's what this consider making range abstract is all about. So we're going to just try this and see if it happens. And if it does, great. And if it doesn't, whatever. So let's do this. We are going to make I thought in Visual Studio there's supposed to be like a new way to make a file that's really like quick. Add file. I can't remember where I saw this. It was in some kind of article, and apparently file, add class, add new item. That's what I've been doing. So no, file, add, whatever. Stick with what I know. So we're going to have an iRange class, except it's going to be an interface. So let's just get rid of all that. Come on, go to file scope. Why are you public interface iRange of t, where t is I number of t. Okay. So that's great. Oh, we also want it to be equatable because I think we can, we should enforce that as well. I think. But we'll see where this all goes. I also have to have a no argument constructor. Well, I don't have to, but I really should, because if I have just the no argument constructor right now, I think it's going to set the start and end to 0, and that doesn't make any sense. So I'm thinking of just defaulting them to being 0 and 1 if you don't set it, which isn't the greatest answer in the world, but it's better than having something that really doesn't make any sense. Okay, so let's go into here and say, yes, we can do this, right? All of these, I think we can just pull over. Contains, deconstruct, equals. Can you, though, have default implementations that use properties? Oof, that might not actually work. Well, let's throw it in there, but I'm starting to think, this is not going to work at all. Let's just grab some of these and let's see how far we get before it says, you're totally screwed. Though you should be able to define properties. You can define properties on an interface, but I don't think you can define the, let's see, what are we saying here? Conversion equality must be abstract or virtual. One of the parameters of an equality must be a type parameter in range constrained to iRange. Oh, yeah. Well, that makes sense because... And then what? Yeah, we're getting there. Okay. And now you're saying A. True. Why it doesn't do that on this one, I'm not sure. Like... You would think, because it's a struct. Yeah. So that's why we need to verify it. What's this? A static virtual or abstract interface member can be accessed only on a type parameter. What? Sorry, I read them like, one of the parameters of an equality. We want to make this an I. Yeah. Oh, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Now, no. I mean, right? Yeah. And this is just a naming thing. Yeah, whatever. So we got first pass. I'm still not sure what this is. One of the parameters of an equality or an equality operator declared in interface iRange must be a type parameter on iRange constrained to iRange. That one I'm really confused about. I got to read it again. One of the parameters of an equality or inequality operator declared in interface iRange of T must be a type parameter on iRange constrained to iRange. Of course, if I click on this, it's going to give like no help whatsoever, I bet. Yeah, they don't have specifics on this error, which is great because I don't know what it means. I mean, I get that saying here that we should add what could we do? This? Dereference of a possibly null reference operator. Yeah. That'll get rid of that. I still don't understand though why this is a static virtual or abstract interface member can only be accessed on a type parameter. No. Let's come back to that. Okay, so we can still do we can do bool. That works. We can say that, and that works. Except again, we've been always assuming that it's a struct. So if we say value is not null, then we do that, else false. There. And I don't understand why it's this. Yeah, just shut up. I don't care if there is a keyword and in Visual Basic. I truly do not care whatsoever. Or what other language there is. Just go away. Okay, so now we just have these two. And let's... Sure. No. Take that away. And no, that's not a range, that's an iRange. And so now, yeah, we have to say other is not null. If that's true, then it's this. Otherwise, it's false. There, now what you complaining about? No, that's actually not what I'm intending. Hold on. If I say implement IEquatable, because now it should be barking and saying, well, you're not implementing IEquatable, right? Well, you're, okay, so you're, yeah. I'm wondering if it's, yeah, I do not want to use new. I want to say not new, if that makes sense. Because iRange equals iRange hides inherited member IEquatable range. But you can't, yeah, there's no idea of override in an interface. So I could say new here, but that feels really wrong. Virtual? Nope, it's still going to bark. Yeah. It's always like this, isn't this? It's never easy. If I do public interface iThing, and that does equatable of iThing, okay? Now that's fine. But there's no way to say, like, public bool equals iThing other. That's going to give me the same barking. Yeah, it hides it. I really don't want it to be hid. I mean, that takes care of it, but that's not what I'm intending. I'm just saying, I know for equatable that it is actually, this is, you can't say sealed here, right? But no. I guess I've never even run into this before because I've never tried to do a default interface member on an interface that has a base interface where I want to say this is the way that you implement it. Because I'm not trying to hide it. I'm just, it's not my intent. And I can't say virtual here. And I can't say abstract, can I? Yeah, that's totally wrong. Well, this was kind of an experiment. I just don't like the way that this range has this kind of weird split on partition. It feels very, very wrong. I could have a base class, but then I would have to have the underlying type be a class and not a struct, which it just doesn't feel right to do it that way. Or I could just say, don't implement this. And leave it. Let the implementing class do it. I mean, equals in hash code, this feels dangerous because I'm assuming that you're, I'm assuming that, well, no, that would actually, okay, if I do 12 here, whoops. Yeah, that's actually just repeating on itself because there is no equals of that type. Though by having this here, that's going to force somebody that's implementing it to actually do that. And these are fine. Now, what we would also want here is, because we kind of stopped, we stopped to get hash code, right? So we would want to pull in range, intersect. Now partition is going to be abstract, okay? So let's come down here. This is going to be immutable array partition there. And that's fine because we don't, and again, I got to stop doing this. iRange, man, this could get really, does it have to be an out? Ugh, blech. This intersect. Yeah, we can't do that because there is no, if target is not null, and then we could do that. Now, well, see, now we can't do a new because we can't. So, which makes sense. I mean, well, we wouldn't be able to actually implement. It's a generic implementation. But even if I made range an abstract class, I couldn't say new range of T because you can't new up an abstract type. So you'd have to say new, whatever the subtype is, which is really awful. That's not what you'd want to do at all. So this would have to be defaulted to the subtype. The more I'm doing this, the more I'm realizing this is probably just not, as much as I don't like this at all, it feels very, very bad. And I'm still probably going to try something off camera. The one thing I want to look at here quick is, what is CS9046? Hold on. Okay, I think I'm going to do a round 2 later, because I'm starting to think that maybe doing this as an abstract base class and then having 2 subclasses rather than trying to do this as an interface. They're not structs then anymore, but is it really that big of a deal? Maybe, maybe not. The thing is, this is something that I'm going to say it again, which I think I've said this before. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with the compiler. There's something wrong with me. But when I see a message like this, I'm just simply not getting it. I'm not understanding what the problem is here. Okay. And by the way, you may have noticed I put IE quality operators here because I think that actually makes sense, is that those should be on the interface. And I'm thinking maybe if I do this on the class, which you can see here, if I did this as a class, I could just then do these that way. Okay, now that's giving me a warning because it's saying you don't override equals and get hash code and stuff. And then if it's a class, then I think we can make this easier. So I think that's definitely why I'm going to do a round 2 and try it as a abstract base class. But again, getting back to this error, there's nothing online. I went to Roslyn's source here and looked up the number, looked up CS. I couldn't find anything. I've looked up online, that wasn't it. But I looked up online just the text. I've looked up the error code. I don't know. Let's do the Googles. Why not? Just because. CS was a 904. What's that error? 9046. C# error. Developer publish. Why would this website that makes no sense? 9046. I mean, at least it'd be here, but it's probably just going to tell me, yeah, 0 constrained is there. I'd like to see an example. I'd like to see documentation on this. I'd like to see something, anything. Help me out here. I brought this up before. I understand that this is something that the team needs help with, but it's really frustrating, especially in recent history, where I've tried to find an error, the information on an error, and there's nowhere to go. I literally can't find anything on it. And I'm personally finding this to be a problem. This is not tenable. How would you expect somebody who's new to the language just be able to read this? And again, I might go back later and just go, oh, that's what you meant. The thing is, it's just not clicking. And it's so helpful to see not just or repeat the text when you have an error description, but then give an example in how you would fix it. That is extremely helpful. This isn't, especially when you click on the link there and it goes nowhere. Why even have any of these error codes at all? This is I think something needs to change on this. And I get that it's an investment on the team, and I get that it's obviously not been deemed as great of an investment as other things are right now. But this is just frustrating. And this is me, a developer that's used C# for 20 plus years, to see something like this and just one, go, I don't understand what the error message is telling me, but then 2, there's no help, there's no support. I don't know what I'm supposed to do to fix this. And I've been trying to do that with the source generators and the analyzers and everything else I write. I've really tried to be consistent and diligent about providing a link to a markdown file that has something there that if a developer saw it, they go, oh, okay, this is the problem and this is how you would fix it. So The game's got to be stepped up on this. It really does. Anyway, round 2, the next episode, I'm going to try to do this as an abstract class, and we'll see if that's a better approach. Thank you all for watching. Leave comments, questions below. See you in the next episode.